Thank you, Chairman, Ranking Member. I, too, love the reverse order, so thank you. Secretary General, I appreciate you being here. I was encouraged to see the Army Material Command earlier this year issue the 15-year Army Organic Industrial Base Modernization Strategy. I agree with General Daly, AMC Commander, that now is the time for wholesale change, and the OIB is an inflection point. How the next 10 to 15 years are handled will determine the depot's ability to maintain pace with the Army's next-generation weapon systems. As co-chair of the House Depot Caucus, I have voiced the need to expedite other OIB modernization plans across the services to fit the objectives of the National Defense Strategy. Secretary, I'll direct my questions to you, but General, absolutely welcome any input. Can you provide an update on the modernization strategy, the Army OIB modernization strategy, and how you think it can be accomplished in 15 years?
Certainly, Congressman. As you said, General Daly and Materiel Command are embarking on a 15-year organic industrial-based plan. Our hope is that that will be completed at about this time next year. And really what we're trying to do there is a couple of different things. First of all, as we undertake this, first in 40 years ambitious modernization program, we need to make sure that the industrial base is going to be able to support all of those next generation weapons. So part of what we're looking at in the plan is assessing, first of all, the current industrial base and whether it will be able to meet our needs, and then identifying any kinds of gaps that we need to fill to be able to, again, make sure that we're able to support these new systems over time. Another important thread in the 15-year plan is, frankly, looking at our supply chain, which I think the pandemic experience has shown us is perhaps more fragile than we would like it to be. We're trying to identify where we may have potential single points of failure in the industrial base. We're trying to identify where we have foreign suppliers, understanding, our confidence level with those foreign suppliers, trying to identify if there are foreign suppliers that, frankly, we don't want to be purchasing from in the future. So those are all issues that we are looking at, as well as, how we may need to bring in some new manufacturing capabilities, again, into our existing base to support the next generation programs.
Excellent. Just any particular comment on the 15-year? Do you feel that there's a chance that could be accelerated? Do you feel that that was, any insight into 15 years, why it was chosen? Was there enough research and thought going into that particular timeline?
Well, I would imagine, having not been there when it was originally decided to undertake the plan, I think what we're trying to do is move as quickly as we can, because obviously we want to modernize our industrial base as quickly as we can, but also do it in a way, frankly, that we can support with our resources, but also are able to support in terms of the kind of analysis and the kind of redesigns that may be needed. So I think we would look for opportunities to accelerate that modernization plan where we can, but we have to look at that in the context of our overall resources and other objectives that we have, for example, in terms of readiness and supporting our people.
And as you've mentioned, some advanced manufacturing, I'll add in advanced sensors, robotics, computer programming, machine types of things. Those are expensive. There's always going to be budget constraints. What can this committee do to make sure that we don't run into similar delays or unnecessary delays in this modernization plan?
Well, I think, Congressman, again, your continued reliable support for our modernization efforts would be very helpful. There may be times where we may come to you to ask for additional authorities. For example, right now I don't think that we need additional authorities, but for example, we have been given authorities in terms of science and technology hires that have been very helpful to us in terms of bringing in civilian expertise in computer science and neuroscience. So I can imagine that might be a way where you can support us over time, but right now I think we have what we need.
Excellent. General, anything to add?
I think the importance of the 15-year plan is to lay out, the whole problem set. As you know, if we just went a 3 or 4 year plan, the resources are not going to be available. But that allows everyone to take a look. Here's how we see things come in the future. And the other thing I think is important to encourage the depots to modernize. We're going to have new systems coming in. We can take a look at, here's how these, as future vertical lift comes on board, as our long-range precision fires, as our next generation combat weapons come. If we're looking out in the future, we can start to program them in and get them the equipment that's going to keep them effective and efficiently in the future, because many of our depots and some of our
again,
arsenals have been around for
apologize.
40 years. Sorry.
Thank you.